Good afternoon, everyone. It is, well, maybe evening time. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening, and I wanted to come by and give you an update on my stitching today. I have another finish. I'm laughing because my friend Donna and Julie from our Zoom group have started saying that I like to use the F word. I don't ever use the F word, but what they're referring to is the word finish. So every time I say something about working toward a finish or I've got to finish, they say, there you go with that F word again. And I got tickled thinking about that, pardon me. Anyway, I'm gonna have to ask my sister Stephanie for the last time in a long time, I hope, to look away because I have finished a gift for her and she will get to see it at Christmas. So for everyone else, you saw this just recently in my whip parade, and I was working on this, and I had gotten over to this side, sorry, it's backwards to me, this side over here, and I was working, trying to complete that. I will tell you, at some point when I started over here and I was missing threads when I was at the beach, I didn't allow enough room for the for this motif, and I misplaced it a little bit different than it should have been. So that has affected all the motifs going across. So when I got to this far side, in order to fit them in, it was too crowded and they wouldn't all fit. So here you go. This is what it looks like. And I have had to adjust, and I've swapped out, for instance, tell you how I did this. This leaf right here, I swapped out. There was a larger motif there. If you can see right here, a real large one. I kept the same color palette and just did a smaller one to make everything fit. Everything else is fine for the most part, but I did just make it fit a little bit less crowded than what the pattern called for. I still think it's quite full and beautiful. I love all the colors all the way across. I think it's precious. I really, really think it's precious. Love the way it turned out. The other thing I did is I changed the color of this motif. It was actually a dark brown, and I felt like there was enough of that color or something similar to that color right here, and I really just wanted to bring this color across and have it in the corner. And so that's what I did. So just a little bit of adjusting because of my error, and then a little bit of adjusting for colors that I felt would brighten it a little bit. And there you have it. There's my finish, and I will fully finish it in time for Christmas, I do hope. Okay, sister, you can look back now. So if you're keeping count, that's 3 of my 7 goals for the month accomplished, and I am thrilled. It's August 3rd, and I'm making great progress by getting 3 goals met already. Some of the others are going to take a little bit longer. I went after the quickest stuff first, of course, to make me feel like I got a great start to the month. But I am having fun. That has been great fun. And I couldn't help but think today when I finished this, oh, now I'm down to 27 whips. So they're coming down. They're coming down. That'll be great. I am excited because this project today allowed me to complete 3 prompts, 1 in each of the 3 different groups that I'm in. One prompt I was to stitch on something that had a female in it, and I jokingly said that one of those items was a female, but I went ahead and stitched penalty stitches just because I finished the whole thing. I wound up over the last 2 days working on this, getting 1,161 stitches in the last 2 days. I did 716 yesterday, and I did 445 today. But I was tickled to death. I was going to stitch on it until I finished it because I was so close, just so close, you know. So I'm really happy about that. And then for my magazine monthly challenge, our word was birdhouse, and the S in the birdhouse, of course, I use the name of the pattern to meet the S. And then for my 24 hours of cross stitch, I was able to use it for one of the letters there as well. So, and that was for the S too, in keep making X's. So the S was the last letter of that acrostic, and I was able to use the name of the design for that as well. So, there you go. I've had a great day. It's been a good, productive day. Yesterday, I was teasing with my friend Mary that I had moved a bunch of furniture and things around because we were having carpet cleaners come in today and clean our carpet. We've been in our new house for a year now, and we thought it might be time to have the carpet cleaned. They had new carpet put in right before we purchased the house, so we're trying to keep it really, really clean and pretty, and so they were coming today. So we had to move some things around, and on top of that, my husband had installed a new chandelier that we bought at a secondhand store in our dining room, and he had taken the original one out and put in the new one, so he had droppings of little pieces of I guess plaster or things underneath the plate that the light, hangs from. As he was, messing with it, a couple of things filtered down to the carpet, and then, so we had to move. He had to move the dining room table all the way over to do that. So we had to get all that cleaned up. We had to move the table back, and it's a big table, so we had to use furniture movers and all that stuff. So my friend Mary told me last night to be sure and take some Tylenol because I was going to need it. But as it turned out, it worked out great. Carpets look wonderful. We've got fans on. You may hear that sound in the background. I'm sorry if you do. Drying my stairs up to my stitching area. So I'm really tickled that we were able to get that done today. So it's been a good day, a productive day in a lot of ways. We've done some great care for our home, and now I have finished another one of my whips, and so I'm excited about that. So I want to tell you something new in case you want to join in. My friend Mary and my friend Donna and I have decided that for World Cross Stitch Day on August 12th, we are going to start a new piece together. It's going to be a start along. It's a by the bay piece, and it's called Needlesmith. And because it's World Cross Stitch Day, we thought that would be a great one to start on that day. So on August 12th, we're going to start that. So we agreed on that this morning, and now I've got the pattern already. We all have the pattern. So now I have to go find my fabric, pick my fabric out, and pull my floss. So I have 3 things I finished this month already, and 2 of those all 3 I had pulled floss for, and I have those all ready to go back into my floss stash. So I think I'll put everything back first and then go get my needlesmith pattern and do some kitting for August 12th. Yeah, a new start, another new start. Am I crazy? Who am I? I have really turned a corner, haven't I? Well, thanks for letting me share my finish with you. I'm very excited to be able to do that. And until I have something else to share with you soon, I hope, happy stitching. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. It is Friday, August the 5th, and I'm here with a bit of a stitching update for you. One of my 7 goals for the month of August was to work on my Enchanted Alphabet. I'll remind you what that looks like. There you go. Trying to get it in the right light. It's late in the night, so I'm having to use just unnatural light, as it were. But I was working on this piece for a couple of things. For my animal adventures, where I have to get 8 prompts in every month, and you have to work on 3 designated projects, and this was one of my designated projects. I'm also using it for the 24 hours cross stick. So it's for my for my first E in Keep Making X's. And so that first E in Keep is Enchanted Alphabet. So I got busy working on it, and I had actually set a goal to finish the little girl. Now, that is a whopping dress, I will just say. It is quite a dress. And I had about a third of it done when I started. I had her face and her collar, and I had the front third of her dress done. So I just decided to go after my animal adventures one animal at a time. And I like to stitch 300 stitches because you get the best extra credit for that in the end. If you do all 8 of them for 300 stitches, you get the right to swap out your project for something different the next month if you want to. So I decided I wanted to do 300 for each of mine this month. And so that meant I had to do it over and over and over again, 300 stitches. Well, since I wanted to finish the little girl on this one, that was a great way to get at it. So I did, my first set of 300, and I usually would wind up with 302, 304, 310, something when I would get to a good point to stop and count and take a picture and post it. So the good news is, between Thursday and Friday, because I've been working on Enchanted Alphabet for 2 days now, I have actually completed 6 additional animal adventures at 300 plus stitches each. And now I have to stop using this piece because I have 1 animal left to find, and I have to use Pandemic for it to get my 3rd project in there. So I can't use this one anymore for animal adventures this month. I could do it for other prompts, but not for animal adventures. Today, I actually got 1,880 stitches in this. So I did finish the little girl. Now, I haven't back stitched her yet. I've simply done the cross stitching. So I'm going to back up and let you see here's how the piece is looking. And then I'm going to fold her up a little bit and concentrate on her. So this is what I stitched on for the last 2 days. I had her face, her collar, part of this dress, and the front portion of the dress stitched. So I have now completed the dress except for the back stitching. And there is a little bit of back stitching in the dress, not a ton, but a little bit that outlines sort of the pinafore and delineates this ruffle, that sort of thing. So the next time I pick this one up, I'll do the back stitching on her so that she's complete. I'll do the big Q that's up here because I've already got P and R. This is O, P, Q, and then R, and then you move over to S over here. So basically what I have left is the little bunny rabbit that's at her feet, and then S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, 8 letters. I have a bunny rabbit and 8 letters to do to finish her up. She is by far the most intense stitching in this whole piece, simply because the dress just goes for so long. It has a lot of shading in it. You can see that in the ruffles. When I back stitch it, they'll even pop that much more. But I have all the cross stitching done, and I'm very, very pleased with that. So that takes care of that goal. I finished the little girl, the stitching part. That was my goal. So I got that done. So now tomorrow I'll move on to something new and different. I have 2 goals left for the month of August. One is to get the letter U started by getting at least the letter itself completed on my autumn bell pull. And another one is to start my Whip Go Start. And if you recall, I want to go back to the Whip Go Start I did for July, which is my Halloween Quaker, and I want to finish that motif before I actually start the one for August. So I will have to pull that Halloween Quaker back out at least and finish that motif before I move on to yet another new start. So I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. I think that probably within about 2 more stitching sessions on this, I might could actually eke out a finish. And if I finish my other goals quick enough in August, I very well may pull her back out and get her done. She's been going on for a while, and I would love to finish her. I definitely want to finish her this year. That's why I put her in my Animal Adventures, because that gives you a lot of good stitching on a project that you want to push forward. But I pushed her a lot, a lot today. So I am really, really pleased. It's been a long time since I've spent more than 1 day on a project. I used to spend 3 to 4 days on every project, and that was when I only had 4 or 5. But I do see so much more progress on something when I can give it 2 full days. And fortunately for me, I didn't have anywhere I had to be yesterday. I had no meetings, no Zoom calls or anything like that I had to do yesterday or today. And so other than walking Coco and making sure we had food to eat, I didn't have anything else I had to do. So I stitched a lot today. And it's late. It's very late. It's almost midnight. But I just wanted to finish it. I get that way when I get to a goal like that, when I can see it. If I'm not sleepy, I'll stitch late. I do. I don't mind it. And I don't have to get up and go to work in the morning. Now tomorrow, my husband's going to get up really early. He has his long run training for his marathon, and he'll be up about 5:30. But he's usually really quiet. I'm hoping that he will be because I don't want to get up that early. Not after staying up this late tonight, but it was worth it. I enjoyed it. And I thank you for letting me share it with you. Thanks for being interested in what I stitch and how I make progress on it. I really appreciate that. And I will talk to you again very soon. Happy stitching. Okay, I've been asked to show my whip storage, and so here is where I store my whips and how I store them. I have a storage cabinet. Well, I guess it's not really a cabinet, it's a stack of drawers. And this is from the Container Store. It is Alpha shelving. I used to have it in a pantry in a former home, and when I moved in here to this house, it became storage for my cross stitch supplies. And on top of it is where I keep my whips. Now, I used to have 2 baskets like this, and one was full of current whips and one was full of kitted projects. As you can tell, I've expanded that now because of my craziness this Christmas in July. But I'll tell you a little bit about what I've got going on. I have all of my Christmas starts in this basket. So that section there in the front are all the new Christmas starts. Then behind that is a little basket, a little box, and that's what's left of my Whip Go new starts that will be called sometime during this year. The middle basket is there because of its shape. I have some oversized project bags in there, so things like Hawk Run Hollow and Pandemic, things that have lots of copies or lots of floss, or might be on a large Q-snap before I put them on a roller frame or something. That's why they were in a larger bag. And because of the shape of the basket being oval, the bags fit in there much better. And then this little precious little plaid box here is actually what I started out having all my Christmas starts that were going to be done in, and they outgrew it once I started working on things and getting all their fabric and floss and everything in them, so that's why I moved them to the bigger basket. So now that is just overflow of my whips. It's the whips that aren't Christmas and aren't in the larger, wider bags. So between those two, the plaid and the oblong basket in the middle, those are the majority of my whips. There's one down here by the side, and that is my mermaid, and she's down there simply because she's not what I consider in my main active whips. She's one I pull on when I need for a prompt, but I'm actually going to try to wait and finish my nativity before I pull her into the mainstream of my whips. So that's my whip storage. The relationship to where they are to where I sit is right here. There's my stitchy spot. So when I need a whip, I literally have a few steps to go and I can see them all at a glance. Okay, here is my storage closet for my cross stitch, which is on the same floor as with my stitching room. This is one of the closets that was already here. The shelves were already here. So my storage of patterns that are not current whips are in here. And this is how I store them. I have two baskets on the shelf here. And this basket, the first one, contains a couple of, like here's a Valentine's Day whip and a 4th of July one that's already kitted. There's Halloween patterns in here that are kitted. And then there are the remainder of my Christmas whips. Or not whips, but kits. These are things I want to stitch that I haven't started on yet. You'll see patterns, and you'll see things that I've started on a kitting. You'll see kits that my son gave me. So this is just sort of all the holidays, including Christmas now. This basket before my 22 starts in 2022 was full of Christmas. The only thing in here was Christmas. This box is again things that I'm interested in possibly stitching. Various holidays and like Thanksgiving, samplers, things of that nature. To a point where I probably need to go through these two baskets and organize them again and just see what I have left. I have also a couple of things, bag and a box here, of patterns that have been gifted to me in care packages, things that people have sent me, and I have to go through those as well. Go through them periodically for giveaways on my channel, but I also take things for my stitching meetup for the door prizes out of there. People that have been kind enough to send me patterns and kits and things to say, you know, either keep or give away. I use those sometimes for my door prizes. And you'll see I've got my project bags here with my pattern, so when I'm ready to kit something up, I can grab a project bag and do that. And then you'll see my fabrics are here. I've got 2 boxes of 32 there, and then back in the corner is what I have left of my 28 count. I have very little of that left now that I've moved on to mainly stitching with 32 count. There's my magazine and book storage, but this is basically everything in here is cross stitch, finishing fabrics, that sort of thing. So that's where I store it. It's right down the hall from my sewing room on the same floor. So that makes it easy to get to when I need it. But thanks for letting me share that with you. I hope you liked it. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Dina. It is Saturday, August the 6th, and I've had a wonderful stitching morning. It is about 4:30 in the afternoon. I've heard from my husband. He ran training for his marathon this morning and did a great job. He ran 2 hours and 20 minutes, he said, non-stop. I think that's fabulous. I couldn't do that. I couldn't even get near it. 20 maybe. I don't even know if I could run 20. Anyway, I'm very proud of him for his training and being so dedicated to it. And I'm happy that he's able to continue doing that. And so he's definitely getting ready for his New York City Marathon. So today I took Coco for a walk and then I settled into stitch. And I decided to go after one of my goals that I had set for myself. I'm using this piece for acrostics. I'm using it for my magazine monthly challenge, which is Birdhouse, and I'm using it for the U in the house part of it, and it's because I'm working again on the U in Autumn Bell Pull. I'm on the second one now. And so one of my goals for the month of August I had set for myself was to stitch the entire alphabetical letter, not all of the leaves and stuff around it. That'll be another couple of sessions, but I wanted to try to get the U completely stitched. And that's not a small undertaking. It was 635 stitches, so it's a bit of stitching to get those letters done. But the worst part was trying to position it correctly, because you're supposed to do 6 threads down from the prior letter above you, but you also have to calculate what is the proper place to count down from, because there's some, for instance, in the T, you can see the grapes. There's a couple of little grapes that hang down below what is the main line. And so when I first started, I counted from there, and then I realized that doesn't make sense. That's going to put too much space, and it was too much space. And so I had to frog out almost that whole loop right there and start over. So then I came over here and I counted down just from the bottom of the T, and it positioned it a lot better. So the one thing about the bell pulls is that they are a little bit tricky when you're trying to line them up beneath each other the right amount. You have to really count the threads from the same consistent position. The bottom of the, for me, it's the bottom of the letter above it. And then you have to locate where is the center of the one you're going to stitch on versus where was the center of the one that you finished stitching on, because each of these is on a separate page. Each letter, the pattern for it is a separate page. There is no pattern in there that shows you how they line up under each other. So it's a bit of a challenge if you're going to do one of these. Just be prepared for that. And so what I did was look back at the picture to help me, and I decided that I was going to line up all the curly cues on the side so that they would all look straight and even. So that's what I did. And I stitched the letter U. You can tell there's a leaf that, lays over the top of it here, there's a leaf here, and there's leaves in here. The last time I did this all the way up to here, and I stopped and I waited and filled that in at the afterwards. But this time, because the goal was to finish the whole letter itself, I decided to count it, and I just counted it twice, and I hope I have it in the right spot. This color is a beautiful Gentle Arts color called Cherry Bark. Isn't that pretty? It's a beautiful deep burgundy red, and it called for 3 skeins of it, and I have used 2. This is my last skein. I haven't opened it yet, but I have 2 more letters, and I've only gotten 2 letters out of each one. So I'm going to look in my stash and see if I have any remnants of cherry bark from another project, and if not, I might go ahead and order me another skein of this. I just don't want to be playing floss chicken. I don't want to be scared about it. So anyway, I did roll it up this morning after I counted everything and marked it, and I got the U in, so now that's placed, and I can do the rest of the leaves and acorns and stuff, as I move forward. But my August goal is met. Really tickled about that. So that's been my day. I hope you've had a great day. I hope you've had time to stitch in your day. I've been texting back and forth with a couple of friends, and one of them has family visiting, and they're not going to get a whole lot of stitching time this weekend, and another one is actually out of town helping a family member pack up their house to move. So there'll be no stitching for that person, for the weekend. So out of the 3 of us, I probably will get the most stitching time this weekend, and I feel very blessed and fortunate, that I do. But I kind of miss them, because as we stitch through the weekend, we text each other and we send each other pictures of what we're working on. So I miss that a lot, and I look forward to when we can get back and do that again. I'm going to let you get back to what you're doing. I hope it's stitching. And in the meantime, until I have more to share with you, happy stitching. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Dina, and I am here on Sunday, August 7th, to give you a bit of a stitching update. I'm actually catching up for a couple of days because I stitched yesterday on Hawk Run Hollow, and I stitched pretty late in the day, and I had stopped on it thinking that I would come back today and stitch even more on it, because my goal this month, one of my goals for August, is to finish this block. However, I looked at how many prompts I have left to keep meeting, and I have a number of them that require me to stitch on different things. So I think I will postpone this. I hope to get back to it and stitch the whole block, but it's okay if I don't. It's not for a gift, or it doesn't have a deadline or anything like that. I wanted to share my progress I made on it, even though it was a small amount. I was stitching on this for a prompt that only required 200 stitches to get the maximum points. And so I did 220 to finish off this little road that I was working on. So when I picked it up, I had a parked thread right up here, right under the house. And I just wound up stitching this entire road in that color. And so I need to come back over here now and do some heel work, where it's got some little cross hatches over here in that color. But I finished 220 stitches. It was enough for a prompt, and I decided that was okay. I wasn't going to work on it again today. I had one prompt left in a group of 5 that I was working on, and it will run out this week on Friday. So I have to have it finished and posted before Friday. So I decided that's the one I'm going to pick up and do. That will finish that whole challenge for that week, and that's good. The prompt was to stitch on something that either represented travel or royalty for Hawk Run Hollow. I forgot to mention that. And so when I did Hawk Run, I did traveling because I said I would like to travel to somewhere as nice as Hawk Run Hollow, but I also mentioned that throughout the piece it has roads going different places, and so you can travel down the road. So that's the prompt that I decided to use the 200 stitches for and move along. So the last prompt I worked on today was in a different challenge, and that prompt said to stitch on a whip that you have that requires multiple types of fiber or flosses. And this one does. This is my Miss Christmas Eve by Mirabilia, and it does call for DMC and it does call for Karen water lilies. And so those are two different kinds of fibers, and I will be using both of them. I haven't put any Karen water lilies in the piece yet, but I just got started on it, as you know, for my Christmas starts. So today I picked it up, and I actually needed, again, I needed 200 stitches, and I wound up getting 273. So here's where I stopped. I could have gone on to 300 and gotten more points for that, but it's late. I'm a little tired. We had a busy day today. We did our church activities, and then we had a reception to go to today that was for our 50th wedding anniversary of some friends of ours. And then my husband and I had been wanting to see the movie Elvis, and so we saw that this afternoon, evening. And then, of course, I had to cook dinner, so I didn't get a whole lot of stitching time today, which was okay, but I met the prompt, and I got part of her bodice done, and I love that. So I have a funny to tell you in case you didn't pick up on it. You may have. Some of you are very, very sharp with what you look at. But when I showed this as my Christmas whip, and all I had was the green for the skirt, I showed it this way, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It actually should have been this way because that is the page break. That's what I was starting at, was that page break going up. So today, when I started to put the bodice on it and I looked at the pattern, I got tickled because I thought, I think I showed that upside down. So anyway, there you go. Now it's right side up for sure. Well, that's my stitching report for today. A little bit yesterday, a little bit today, and that's awesome. I'm really, well, the Hawk Run Hollow was my second piece that I worked on yesterday. You've already seen the first one, which was my Autumn Bell Pull. I did finish that letter, and so then after that, I did Hawk Run. So today I got a little bit of stitching in, not as much as I would have liked, but every stitch counts, as you know. So tomorrow, what are my plans? Well, I'm not sure exactly. I have additional prompts that I need to meet. I'm supposed to have a good day for stitching tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. You never know anymore. I have nothing on the calendar, nothing. So watch something happen. Something will come up. But if it comes out that I really do get to stitch a little bit tomorrow, I have an idea of what I'd like to do. I would really like to pull out Nativity and see if I can't work on Nativity and take that wing to the page break. Because if I do that, that is a whip go goal. And so I can mark that off, and that would be awesome. So that's my hope. That's my hope for tomorrow. I won't say plan because things have been kind of iffy lately with all that's going on, but that's what I'll try to do. Whatever happens, I'll share it with you. So in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Dina, and this little segment is going to be a book review. I listened to a book on tape recently that is by one of my favorite authors, James Patterson. He wrote it in conjunction with a man named David Ellis, and it's actually the first of a three-book series. This is called Black Book. I know the second one in the series I think is going to be Red Book, and I don't know what the third one's going to be. But I'm really tickled to have gotten started with it. I have read several of James Patterson's detective novels, but primarily they're in his Alex Cross series, which is Detective Alex Cross. Last I looked, there were 28 of those, and I have not read all 28, but I've read quite a few. I like the style, and I like the personality of Alex Cross. But this book, in this new series, introduces us to an entirely new family. It's still detectives. The father in the family is the chief of detectives, and there are 3 or 4 brothers and then a set of twins, and the twins are detectives. It's a brother and sister, and they are both detectives, and the book grabs you right away. It is an instant, just gets your attention, and you hit the ground running. So in the very opening book of the book, the twin sister is on her way in a mad dash to a crime scene because she's heard that her brother has been murdered. And as it turns out, he was shot, but he survived. And apparently his heart stopped for a short time, and that's when they thought he was dead. But they found a pulse on him as they were about to remove him from the crime scene. And so he did survive. So now you've got a man who someone tried to murder, and he is alive, and he's healing. Doesn't have his memory at first. He lost 2 weeks of his memory, 2 weeks before the event and the event. And so part of the story is him struggling to try to regain that memory. The story's written in the style of you're in the current time when the book starts. And then as you progress into the next chapter or two, it goes back into what happened several weeks prior to the night that he was shot. And the detective who was shot is Billy Harney, and his twin sister's name is Patty Harney. So the way that you really get this story is by going back and forth. So in the present, it's narrated by Billy, or told from Billy's point of view, and Billy doesn't have his memory, so you don't really know anything. And then as he's learning, as he's investigating, as he's defending himself, because he wasn't the only one shot that night. There were actually 2 people in the room with him. All 3 of them had been shot, and the other 2 actually died. And so now it looks like Billy may have been the one that killed him, and that one of them may have shot him in self-defense. And that's what the DA is saying. And so they're gonna, try him for murder. So his life is on the line. He knows he didn't do it. He doesn't remember, but he just knows that's not his nature. He would not have done that. So the interesting thing is that the story is told in these little snippets that he goes back and remembers. And until he remembers it, you don't know it either. So you don't know any more information than Billy does. Other characters in the book they know more than he does in some cases, but they don't share it because it's not told from their point of view. So it's an interesting way to tell the story. You learn as he learns. You are surprised when he's surprised. And it is a surprise. Now, there were a couple of foreshadowings, or things that, I guess because I've read a lot of his books, or I've read a lot of murder mysteries and things, I picked up on a couple of things. I thought, that person's involved, because they're just the way they're talking about this individual. Yeah, it's leading you to look at them one way, but they're definitely involved, and they were. And then I had another revelation based on something that was said in the story frequently I thought, oh, that's going to really come into play. That I know how that's going to come into play. And I told my husband, I said, this is going to save the day in the end. This is going to have an impact on the end of the story. And because otherwise there's no need for them to bring it up in the story. One mention is one thing, but if they mention it more than once, there's a reason. It's an important factor. And it was. So I didn't figure out necessarily who the murderer was. I did figure out one of the people that was involved and was guilty of crimes, but there was still even a surprise for me. And I liked that. I liked that I didn't figure it all out. So the book is fast-paced. I don't think there's a slow section to it where I wasn't as interested. I caught myself listening to it while I was cross-stitching, and I would start playing the book on tape. And the library loan is what I was doing. And all of a sudden I'd realized it was midnight. I had been stitching for 2 or 3 hours and just listening to this book. And I had hoped that I could get through with it, in a couple of days because I wanted to know what happened. So it was a good read for me. I enjoyed it. I think I saw one review that only gave it a 3. I don't know if that was out of 5 or 10, but I think it was a pretty decent read. I would probably give it more along the lines of 8 out of 10. And the only reason it's an 8 is because I could figure out some of the stuff. And so, that's okay. That worked out well. I would recommend it. I liked the book. I enjoyed it. I like it enough that I would probably read the second in the series. Because the next one is about the same detective. It's still about Billy Harney, and I guess he's going to solve another crime or a story, that's a lot of twists and turns. This one had a lot of characters, and a lot of twists and turns, and I liked it because it kept me going. Once I met all the characters and I had them pretty well sorted out, that was great. And then you just kind of saw how they all fit together. But I recommend it if you like a good detective novel. I think that's a good new series to start. I hope you're enjoying whatever you're reading, and I hope you do get to read some. And, do like I do. Get it on tape when you can so you can listen to the story while you're stitching. Happy stitching, everybody, and happy reading.
Whoa. Whoa. Got it.
There she goes. Oh! Oh, Coco, you got it.
She loves the balloons. Yeah, you did it.